Hi, assalamu alaikum everybody. So some of you guys might know me from my blog, Hijabi Hustle. If you don't know me, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a backstory on my life so we can get to know each other. First things first, my name is Emily. I'm 26 years old. I'm a revert to Islam. I'm a single mom, and I'm a full-time student where I'm studying actually political science and nonprofit management, which is a really, really cool thing to study. So my journey is a bit of a bizarre one. I'm actually the daughter of Christian missionaries. My mom's family is originally Jewish, and my mom actually converted to Christianity when she was 14. But we are still really heavily influenced, I would say, by Judaism when I was growing up. So I grew up in China, Langfang, China to be exact. It's right sandwiched between Beijing and Tianjin. And my parents actually went to China to start a nonprofit orphanage. So I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I've got 4 little brothers. I don't know why I'm counting in case you don't know numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how many little brothers I have, and a little sister. And my youngest brother and my only sister are adopted from China. So I grew up, like going to church all the time, going sometimes to synagogue in Beijing for high holy days. And when I was 16, I kind of had this like crisis of faith where I stopped being religious entirely. So I quit going to church, quit believing all of that. And I always think that Allah has such a sense of humor too, because actually one of my favorite songs used to be that Frank Ocean song where he's like, it's bad religion if it brings me to my knees. And if you're familiar with Islam, you know that how we pray. And if you're not familiar with Islam, whenever we pray, we actually go down all the way to the ground. So I always think Allah has such a sense of humor because of that. So anyways, I was going to UNT, which is the University of North Texas, and I had kind of been forced because of a financial situation to take a semester off from school. And I was working as a back office person at a diamond store. So I was basically cleaning rings all day. It was a very thrilling job. When a gentleman came in with his wife, and they were both speaking Mandarin, and so I love like a chance to practice Mandarin, and so I started speaking them in Chinese. And I also, backstory, this is important as well. When I was at UNT, I had gotten pretty heavily involved with activism. And so because of it, I learned a lot about the BDS movement. A lot of my family are actually Zionists, both on the Christian and the Jewish side. So I had always kind of grown up believing Zionist ideas. And then I went to college, and I was introduced to this whole new world, and I started realizing how much how long I had been misinformed about what was actually going on in Palestine and Israel. And so I became active in the BDS movement. And then around the same time, I was working at a department store, and I met this Moroccan woman who she had 4 sons. It's been a while, but 3 sons. She had 3 sons. Anyways, I don't know why I keep counting. Hopefully you guys know how to count to 3 and 4. But anyways, she became like a mom to me, and she would like bring me food, buy me groceries, bring me house plants, and she just kind of took me under her wing. And she's actually the first person who ever invited me to a mosque. And I remember the first time I ever went to a mosque, I didn't even know that there was a separation. Like, I was meeting her there, and I didn't know that there was a separation between men and women. So I actually ran into the men's section, and I was like, strange, only Muslim or only men? Where's Naza? So because of Naza, and combined with like the stuff I learned about the BDS movement, I've always really been interested in history and religion and learning about things. So I started to read a lot about Islam. And then I started to listen to the Quran in Arabic, and I had, some traumatic things happen, and listening to the Quran didn't take away the trauma, but it made it so much easier to sleep at night, and it brought me a lot of relief. And so when I was working at the diamond store, I had kind of reached this like pivotal point where I had to decide, like, was I interested in Islam just for the sake of learning about Islam, or was this going to be a faith choice for me? And I was terrified that it was going to be a faith choice for me, because if I was going to do that, it was going to change the trajectory of my entire my entire life, you know, my entire life. So I was right at this point where I was trying to decide, you know, what it was that I was going to do. And I started speaking to this couple in Chinese, and they wound up telling me, hey, we're actually recruiting English teachers to go to China to come teach. So would you be interested in coming and joining our company and coming to teach? And I was like, yes, absolutely. Like, that sounds wonderful. So subhanAllah, a week before I was supposed to go to one province, it was actually Shanghai, I met with the recruiter, and he was like, yeah, you know, I know how a lot of Americans feel about Muslims. You know, so just a heads up though, that school is shutting down. We're actually moving you to the, if it's okay with you, a Muslim majority province called Ningxia, which is where we're going to be opening up our school, where you'll be working. And so subhanAllah, when I had decided when I lost faith entirely, I was 16 and in China. And when I actually said Shahada, it was like in a coffee shop. I Skyped this family, and I said Shahada in China. So I always think, you know, what, like a beautiful journey that Allah was always taking me on. But, you know, as long as we're alive, our journeys kind of don't really end. And so what happened afterwards is I got married to someone who I didn't know very well, and I was 21 at the time, and I think that this is something that we really need to address. We really, really, really need to address, is that when a sister reverts, the first thing that everyone's saying is like, oh, mashallah, you need to get married, you need to get married, you need to get married. And that's not true. What she needs to do is she needs to focus on deen. She needs to learn how to pray. She needs to learn all of these other things are far more fundamental. And people with really good intentions told me that getting married is half of your deen, which is true, but that doesn't mean you have to just marry anybody. So I got married and moved to Dubai. We got a divorce when I got pregnant, had a baby, and I left my ex-husband when my son was 5 months old. So there's been so many journeys and stories in between that time. My son is now 3. I'm the sole provider and caretaker of him, and like I said, I'm a full-time student. So as you can imagine, things are busy and crazy, and a lot of times they're a really big struggle.